Many of us actually get to work with him and spend time with him. What is he like behind closed doors?
He's nothing like how people perceive him to be. He's honestly a really personable person. He's someone that wants to teach you, of course, but he's honestly easy to talk to, and he makes jokes and laugh just like everybody else. But when he comes to getting serious, he's locked in, and he's the greatest coach of all time. So you be quiet and you listen when he talks.
Big time jump, obviously, from USA up to UNC. What makes you feel like you're prepared for that type of league?
Honestly, Coach Applewhite was very helpful in my development as a player, and I give a lot of credit to him. He developed me as a player, and just after this past season, he was super supportive of me and helped me develop as a player. And just as the situation comes about, I really do think I'm prepared to play. I wouldn't have made that jump if I don't think Coach Belichick would have took me if he don't think I could have played.
Gio, with you coming here in the second transfer portal window, you obviously weren't able to participate in spring practice, but what have you been able to do with the guys just to get to know them a little bit, sort of acquaint yourself with the team?
Coming in the second portal window, just taking people to lunch or just talking to them in the locker room, just the little things matter, just being in the locker room a little longer than usual, talking to the guys, when we condition or we're in the weight room, just being another supportive guy in that, or when we do player-led practice, being a leader, just trying to lead in any way, shape, or form I can to show up every day.
Christo Kelly was very complimentary of your golf game. He said he got good golf swings.
Yeah, me and Christo went golfing, talked golf a little bit, and I swung it all right there. I feel like I put on a pretty decent show.
Gio, what's it mean to all the attention that you guys are getting because of Coach Belichick?
At the end of the day, the attention's awesome. You're just thankful for the opportunity, but you just gotta go out there and compete at the end of the day. Either way, everyone's playing 12 games, and you just gotta put your best foot forward. And I feel like with Coach Belichick, he's gonna help us do that.
Any additional pressure, knowing that there's gonna be a lot of eyes on you guys this year?
If you don't love football, if you don't want a little bit of pressure, a little bit of competition. So for me, there's no additional pressure.
Gio, just talk about some of the goals you have this year as quarterback of the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Goal-wise, is just to win games. I could go out there and throw for 10 yards a game. If we win 12 games, I don't care. I'm just all there just to be a leader and win games. And for me, of course, everyone has their own personal goals, but if I can win games, then I don't care what my stat sheet looks like.
And just talk about, having everyone watching you guys on national television to start the college football season against TCU on Labor Day night.
It's exciting. Right now, you want to look so far ahead. You want to be so excited. But at the end of the day, we still got fall camp. We still got workouts on Monday. So that's what I'm focused on right now.
Gio, what were the conversations with Coach Belichick about coming to Carolina and you ultimately joining the program?
When I officially got in that portal and me and Coach Belichick talked, he really was just straightforward to the point. He just told me hey, if you're willing to compete for a spot and want to, play at a bigger program, then you have that opportunity here. Of course, nothing was given to me because I didn't earn anything. I'm 20 years old. I got a lot of life to, still earn a lot of things. So for me, just the opportunity was enough for me to take that.
What was that phone call like? What do you remember about it?
I was to the point. Of course, he's a man of not that many words. The oxymoron of what he says. But for me, he just told me hey, if you want to compete, and he told me he knew I was really close with Coach Applewhite, and he was just saying I'm a pretty good coach too. I was I know you are. So for me, it was just an opportunity I couldn't pass up.
Gio, what's your relationship like with guys like Bryce and Max? Obviously, both of them in unique situations. Bryce being a true freshman and Max coming back from that terrible injury. What has it been working with them in an unofficial way so far this summer?
People have this persona that, of course, everyone has this rivalry, and of course, everyone wants to play. But Bryce and Max, and even Tori and DJ, all these guys, we're all, at the end of the day, we're all young guys just trying to figure it out. And I feel like everyone's been helpful, and Max has been helpful in me learning the playbook. I've tried to help Bryce out a little bit when we talk about plays or coverages and talk about stuff in that manner. So there's overall this, if you have a good QB room that everyone's trying to be helpful and help each other be the best version of themselves, you're gonna have a good room.
I've heard your skill set compared to Lamar Jackson. Is that fair? How would you describe your game?
Lamar, I haven't heard that one. That's a new one for me. I've gotten to a good bit, but Lamar, I say I can make plays off schedule. Lamar will be, if it's a great comparison to be compared to, that's awesome. But for me, just to make plays, make off script stuff. When plays break down, I can make a negative play, not a negative play, and just make sure the play doesn't go backwards. Keep the chains moving forward. So that's why I say it's a good positive of my game.
Gio, I feel like your football career has been defined by trying to get that opportunity, trying to get your chance. How do you feel like you've learned from that and grown and to get to this point?
For me, just very thankful for everything I've gotten. For me, I tore my shoulder my junior year, had surgery on it. A lot of schools stopped talking to me. South Alabama gave me that opportunity. I'm forever thankful for that. And just the opportunity to be able to compete on a bigger level, of course, with the greatest head coach of all time. Who wouldn't take that deal? You know what I'm saying?
What do you feel like you learned during your time at South Alabama?
Coach Applewhite played quarterback at Texas, so I I learned so much from him. He taught me, reading plays or reading defenses or understanding, protections. Just overall, who I am today, I want to be as a quarterback without Coach Applewhite, and even as a person. He was a huge help for me.
Yeah, and knowing that you kind of had that attention drop off in high school that you mentioned, what does it mean to you now to have this opportunity?
Just don't take anything for granted. I mean, I know a lot of people would love to be in my situation. I've waited my turn. I've tried to earn everything I've done. And I've had a great support cast, and just to have the opportunity to be here is a blessing.
Hey, Gio. Apologies, I already got this question, but from your perspective, how's the quarterback battle going so far this summer? And what stood out about North Carolina? Why do you want to come to Chapel Hill?
For me, the quarterback battle has been awesome. Of course, as a competitor, you got to love it. I mean, if you don't love competition, you shouldn't be playing football. And Max has been awesome. We've been super helpful with each other, and we went to Man and Passing Academy together, and we honestly got closer there. So the whole stigma that you hate the guy you're competing against isn't true. Me and Max have been pretty good people, and we're both competing from a good sense. And I feel Bryce is going to be a great player as well. And everyone's just competing. And then when it comes to North Carolina, I love it. Chapel Hill is cool to be in a college town. South Alabama was awesome. It wasn't as much as a college town, but being in Chapel Hill is a really cool experience.
I know you haven't been there long, but being coached under Freddie Kitchens, have you gotten a feel for what the offense might look like this season?
Just more of an NFL-like offense. I mean, of course, it's different when you're at South Alabama when you're watching tape and they're bringing up South Alabama tape, and then when you turn on tape with Kitchens, it's the Patriots, or when he was the head coach with the Browns, you're like, wow, I'm watching NFL guys and where I want to be. I'm watching them execute this play, so it's been awesome learning from him, especially him playing at Alabama. He's had experience at the position.
And then what was Bill Belichick's kind of pitch to get you to come to North Carolina?
Funny enough, wasn't much of a pitch needed. When you get the greatest head coach of all time talking to you, you pretty much just listen. But just kind of told me just the chance to compete. And that's all I wanted. I'm not asking for any handouts. I just want to compete, and he gave me that opportunity.
Gio, how's it been building chemistry, sort of getting to campus a little later than others?
Building chemistry-wise, I would just say, just competing every day, showing up in a weight room, showing up in conditioning. The little talks in the locker room, they matter. Just little things. Driving up here, it was a 2-hour drive from Chapel Hill to Charlotte, just talking in the talking in the car. Just little things like that, just build chemistry and just taking advantage of every opportunity I can.
Gio, sorry if you already answered this, but how are you hoping to make this team your own this coming season?
For me to make this team my own is to just show up every day and be a competitor. I mean, I feel like the best leader is a leader that does things the right way, and that's how I try to do everything I do, and just lead the team in every way I can. So that's how I try to do it.
With so much change, what are you hoping the team's identity will be this fall?
We talk about it all the time. You probably heard it a couple times, but tough, smart, and dependable is what we want to be. And Coach Belichick always says that in every meeting. It's on the walls everywhere in our building. So just if we can be tough, smart, and dependable, we can win a lot of ball games.
What's the difference between Coach Applewhite and Coach Belichick? What are the
The difference I say between Coach Applewhite and Coach Belichick, I mean, of course, with Coach Belichick, it comes his resume, everything he's done, and he was, it speaks for itself. I feel like you can go up on Google and search up how great Coach Belichick is, but when it comes to Coach Applewhite, I mean, it's two different coaching styles, but they both demand a lot of greatness out of you, and expect the best out of you. And Coach Applewhite, I would say, was, him playing quarterback. I was able to talk to him more about some stuff. But when it comes to Coach Belichick, I mean, it's literally whatever he says feels like the football Bible. So anything you hear from him, you're just like, okay, awesome. I would love to learn from you.
Gio, what is your sense of trying to learn the playbook in a condensed amount of time? Is there an urgency? Are you doing maybe stuff you wouldn't normally have done, like cram sessions type stuff?
When it comes to learning the playbook, I feel like one thing that is a little overlooked is once you learn a playbook, a lot of stuff trying to translate. So of course, there's different terminology, there's different ways to execute plays, but at the end of the day, there's only so many ways you can run post crosser. There's only so many ways you can run, crash or smash, stuff like that. So with that, you just start to learn those concepts. And I'm a big flashcard guy. They give us iPads. We didn't get that at South Alabama, but they got iPads you can look through. I was looking at iPad. I look at all that. But I'm a big note card guy, just writing the name on the front, flipping it on the back, just kind of testing myself as much as I can.
So doing that on your own?
Just every day, just going through the cards.
You didn't have the iPads at South Alabama?
No, we didn't have iPads. I had to come to the building to watch film.
Gio, can you talk a little bit about how racing has had an impact in your life? I know your dad is a big racing fan. And then I know you said you wanted to be in a pit crew maybe one day. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my dad, growing up was he's a car salesman. He's my hero in my world, but he was a drag race. He still does drag race, and then for me, like, just it's a quick thing. You're running you gotta run a quarter mile in 5.5 seconds. You gotta be quick off the line. You gotta be quick in your button press. You gotta be quick in all these things. And it just shows you like there's such little details that you gotta pay attention to, and small mistakes you can't make. So for me, watching growing up, watching my dad do all those things, and I was four-wheeling and jet skiing my whole life. With extreme sports, I guess, and that sense, it's when you put a football helmet on, I guess it kind of translates like this isn't that scary compared to falling off of a motorcycle or stuff like that.
And did you start out as a wide receiver in high school? Or can you talk about a little bit about that, about the quick transition to quarterback?
So I was a wideout my freshman year, played 1 year at wideout, then went to quarterback. But it was, just the experience as a whole. I just didn't take it for granted. Of course I wanted to play quarterback, but I mean, just being out there in the varsity level as a 14-year-old was good. It was great to learn from.
Gio, the player on the podium behind me is Jordan Shipp. What can fans expect of him this season?
I think you can expect a lot out of Jordan Shipp and our whole wide receiver core, but Shipp's a great player that loves to compete, and I mean, he's a hard worker, one of the hardest workers I've met. So Jordan Shipp as a whole is just a great player and an even better person. So I think he's going to be a great player for us this year.
For ACC fans that we're not following you in school, what do you kind of see as your strong suits that you want to bring to the table?
I feel like I bring a lot to the table as a competitor and as a player. I mean, I feel like I make a lot of plays. I'm fun to watch, I would say that, but also just making plays off script. When they bring pressure that we weren't expecting, or when a play goes wrong, I feel like I have a good way of making the best out of every play.
Now is there a sense, obviously you accomplished a lot in South Alabama, but is there a sense of, feeling like you need to prove yourself now that you're in a new conference and in a new school, or do you feel like, I'm good because I've done it before?
Of course, you want to prove yourself in every situation you have the opportunity to, but for me, just trying to not get in the big eyes or the me that's like self things. Like for me, I'm thinking team, so I don't need to prove myself. As long as all I can prove is if we put a W in the column, then I'm fine with that. That's all that matters to me.
Gio, when you were talking earlier about Freddie showing you guys like what the offense looks like through NFL clips, who does he show you? What do you guys watch?
So of course, we got Tom Brady clips. Of course, we got all those in the world. But I got to watch some Carson Palmer when he was in Arizona. I got to watch Baker Mayfield with the Browns. Just watching all these guys execute the offense. Jacoby Brissett, Matt Castle, Cam Newton. Just all these guys. You just learn from all of them. Yes, they're all very different players and have very different careers, but all of them made it to the NFL, and that's more than I've done. So just the opportunity to watch those clips and how they executed the play has been awesome.
Do you have to imagine these guys just left-handed dudes?
I've never had a problem. Of course, growing up, there's not a lot of lefty quarterbacks, so I've always just watched righty quarterbacks, and I'm like, all right, that's me, just opposite. So it's never really been a problem.
What's your way trying to be a consistent running threat against taking the beating, absorbing big hits, and what have the coaches told you anything about that?
Last year I think I slipped maybe twice all season. So for me, I did get a talk like, hey, we gotta protect our bodies a little more, and it just comes from a competitive standpoint. I just like to, hey, I got 5 yards, why not go get 6? So for me, that mindset's had to change a little bit. Of course, third down and short, if I gotta go get it, I'm gonna go get it. But just the standpoint of not taking as many hits has been a big thing for me. And the conversation, just keeping my body healthy and making sure I stay upright.
What was it like to get
college games
growing up? I was really big into older tapes like Randall Cunningham, like John Elway. I loved Brett Favre growing up. I watched a lot of college, so Trayvon Boykins was a great player. Watching him, Geno Smith in college, even him in the NFL, just Pat White, just all these guys. I love watching tape of, guys that just been successful. I don't care if you were successful, smaller school, bigger school, just if you were successful, I would love to learn from you. So just never having too big of an ego to learn from anybody. So, I've watched a lot of tape.
Is it an advantage being a left-handed quarterback?
Advantage? I would say some advantages may be, just defensively, the way you scheme against me might be completely has to flip how you scheme. Okay, if you want to bring pressure from the right side to make a quarterback roll out left because he's right-handed, if you bring pressure from the right side, I'm rolling out to my strong hands, so you got to flip your pressures or stuff like that may be a difference for you.
What's the first day?
Process like being recruited by Belichick?
The recruiting process is pretty simple, honestly. It's one of those situations that Coach Belichick hits you up about coming to the school that he's coaching at, and you really don't think twice. You're like, all right, great to say coach all the time, let me take this deal.
Does he make a sales pitch saying, hey, I've done it in the NFL, I can help you, or does he not make a sales pitch?
It's not much of a sales pitch, I feel. The word speaks for itself, of course, but he just kind of told me to come in and compete, and I was like, I'm more than thankful to be able to do that.
Was there certain expectations maybe you had about what it would be like? to be around Bill Belichick and be coached by Bill Belichick, but now that you've been dealing with him, it's a different situation. It's different or not?
Of course, coming into it, you can never picture what it's like to get coached by Coach Belichick, but once you get there, you understand that he's a very personable person and wants to teach and wants to make you be the best version of yourself. So honestly, anything he says, you just learn from and you just take it full on and go after it.
A lot of former players have been surprised by his sense of humor and jokes sometimes in meetings. What has that been like for you to see?
For me, a lot of people have this persona that he's a hard-nosed, won't talk to you guy, but he's honestly a funny dude. We'll be watching film together, he'll make a joke, and you're like, you laugh a little bit, then you laugh a lot harder because you're like, wow, Coach Belichick said that. Like, you don't even think he'll say something like that. Just, of course, there's funny jokes that he says that you just don't think about, and he's just, honestly, really easy to talk to and wants you to be the best version of yourself. He just teaches you a lot.
Does he do a lot of talking about, well, this is how we did it in the NFL, so let's do it. This works because it worked in the NFL, or tell a lot of NFL stories to explain what he's trying to get across, or no?
Of course, he has a lot of NFL stories. I mean, when you coach that long, of course you're going to have them. But he's honestly he's very understanding of everyone's game is a little bit different. Of course, okay, Tom Brady, did this play like this. I'm gonna do it a little differently. Of course, I mean, I play a lot different than Tom Brady. So for me, just him being understanding of everyone plays a little bit different. When me and him talked, he was like, look, I've coached a lot of quarterbacks. I'm not expecting to be Tom Brady. I'm expecting to be Gio Lopez. And that was very helpful for me.
You've been there since when? I guess
I got in there in May.
What day? Do you remember?
I want to say whenever I couldn't go until officially I was done with school at South. So whatever that day was, I think I went there 2 days later.
What have you been working on this offseason to make you better for this upcoming season?
For me, I know. For me personally, I had to work mid-season. I was getting out the pocket a little too fast. So I feel like I cleaned that up towards the back end of the season. But right now, I'm just working on, having better footwork and just being under center a little more, and just going through my reads. I feel like I've gotten better at. But honestly, it's overall mechanics. I mean, you can never get too much mechanics.
People, so Brandon Kramer from North Carolina is going to help us a lot of this, so he'll be running the press conference. So over here, just make sure you guys can keep going up there. I'm sorry.
Okay. Kind of that point, what's it like going from the Sun Belt from South to a school that's in the spotlight the way obviously Carolina's going to be?
Just taking all my reps and experience I have from South and taking it to the ACC. I mean, there's great teams, of course, in the ACC, but in the Sun Belt, there's a lot of great players that honestly left and went to bigger programs and being able to compete at a higher level. So I think it just goes to show that the Sun Belt is a great a great conference, and it also has a bunch of talent in there. So I don't feel too like it was a difference.
Is it weird dealing with the spotlight, just having so much attention on the program like it does?
At first it was a little, to me, of course, just little things, you don't think about. I'll make a post on Instagram and I'll get 1,000 likes. Okay, cool, it's okay. And then now it's okay, I committed to UNC and I got 40,000 likes and I'm getting all these followers. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a lot. But it's honestly just, it's a blessing to even be in this situation. So I just take it all with, just thankful and just talk to anytime I feel a little, overwhelmed, I just talk to my sister, and my sister's always super helpful for me.
So you haven't felt like there's a time crunch in terms of, being ready to go August 2nd? Whatever day.
Fall camp, but September 1st, our first game. I mean, of course, there's a little bit of time crunch. While I love that I've been there for the spring, of course. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is the situation I got dealt, and who am I to, question it or find toughness in it? At the end of the day, it's a blessing to even be here. So for me, I'm just it's a blessing to take on this opportunity. It's a blessing to take on this battle. So why not? Would I try to attack it with my best foot forward?
How much more do you have to learn?
Honestly, I would pretty much say the playbook-wise, when it comes to all their concepts or the run game or the protections, I know all of it. So I pretty much learned everything. I guess it's one thing to learn something, but it's another thing to master it. So for me, just understanding, okay, of course, when I show this flashcard and I flip it over and I know what's on the back of it, that's cool. But can I go out on the field and not have a flashcard in front of me? Can I go and execute it like that? So when we have player-led practices, it's been super important for me to be able to visualize all of that. And I've feel really good about it so far.
Yeah, when you've been doing it against air, you mean?
Yeah.
This is more of an NFL offense. What does that mean as far as formations, how the tight end is used, and run-pass ratio, and how is that different from what you had at South Alabama?
I feel like for me, I mean, honestly, my tight end at South Alabama is with the Steelers right now. So we use the tight end a bunch, but for me, it's a little more. The tight end's a lot more involved in this offense. Back at South, we were more involved with our slot receiver, but the tight end does play a big part in this offense. And just from the NFL comparison standpoint, I mean, when it comes to formations, we were a lot more, 3 receiver, 1 tight end. But here, you get a little more 2 on like 2 receiver, 2 tight end and stuff like that. So it's a difference. But at the end of the day, I mean, all of them are eligible receivers. So if they're open, throw them the ball.
What's your sense on
Good
the
talking to you. Appreciate the time.
Yes, sir, thank you.
What's your sense on the run-pass ratio that will be?
Personally, I don't have any ratio. I mean, my ratio right now is worried about winning games. So if whatever ratio it takes, I'm down to be able to hand the ball off. If I need to do that, if I need to throw the ball 50 times a game, I'm okay with that. Whatever it takes to win.
This offensive line, it's
experience.
You don't know if the offensive line before at Carolina, but this looks like the best offensive line that they've had in a few years. What did you see from them?
We have a lot of experience from the offensive line. We took a lot of talent in the portal as well. And just like, it's one thing to have, a 5-man rotation, right? You play 5 O-linemen at a time, but to have a 6th or a 7th or an 8-man rotation, I feel like we have a lot of pieces that can roll. Okay, let's say a guard's tired for a bit. We can roll another guy in and be able to still operate at a high level. And it's a really good thing to have on your offense when you have a lot of talent in O-line.
You can be more of a pocket passer with that kind of line?
I feel like my team at South did a great job of me being a pocket passer as well, but I feel like, just having an O-line that has a lot of experience and understanding is one thing, for me to be a pocket passer, but for them to be able to communicate stuff is a really big thing as well. Like when they talk to me like, hey, this rusher's rushing high, so don't be expected to move more up in the pocket. Hey, he's an inside rusher, so be expected to have more of a left or right movement. Just stuff like that. You get the little things when you have a more experienced O-line that can talk to you.
What about your game do you feel is undervalued?
I feel like undervalued. I would say I take care of the ball. It's funny to say that. My last game, I had 3 turnovers, right? But going into that game, I only had 2 picks on the year, and I threw 2 picks, had a fumble at the end of the season. But overall, I feel like I take care of the ball, and I don't put our offense in bad situations, and I'm smart with the ball. I don't force a lot of stuff. Of course, you got times you got to be, take a risk and throw a ball into a tight window. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like I put the ball in jeopardy.
You talk about taking care of the ball. What made that such a big part of your game? And how have you adjusted to that going to the Power 5 level? That still feels a really strong part of your game.
Yeah, I feel like it's a huge part of my game. I say what developed me was even in high school, I wasn't really a turnover guy. I only had 2 picks my junior and 4 my senior. But for me, a big thing was Coach Applewhite was another person. I was like, hey, the best thing you can do on offense is take care of the ball. Because at the end of the day, let's say we don't get a first down, but at least when you punt the ball, our punter's punting it 30 or 40 yards the other way. Everything is a field position battle, and that's what kind of Coach Applewhite taught me. And okay, well, if everything's a field position battle, why would I not want to be smart with the ball and not put the ball in jeopardy? If I cannot put the ball in jeopardy, then 90% of the time you're gonna play better and have a better chance of winning the game.
Gio, so Belichick coming in with his caliber, how's it been with him leading your team? And does he have any funny one-liners or anything like that?
It's been an awesome learning from Coach Belichick. I mean, it's one of those situations where he walks in, you can hear a pin drop because everyone's like, it's not in a scary way. It's more in the sense of when he's in here, you better listen because you're about to hear some great knowledge that you can apply to your game. And one-liners, I mean, probably the same things y'all have heard, over the years with the Patriots and stuff like that. He's got some stuff he says, but overall, he's just been, a great person to learn from.
Gio, you mentioned using flashcards for the playbook. What's been kind of your method for studying those plays and kind of getting up to speed?
For me, of course, I got all the install. I go through all the playbook, but flashcards has been a huge thing for me. I know it's funny, but my mama was a elementary school teacher,
awesome.
And so for me, I was like, for kids, I mean, if flashcard works, I just started doing flashcards for me as well. And I mean, honestly, it's one of those deals. I have a whiteboard in front of me, pull out a white card, look at it, okay, draw it, then I flip it over, okay, got it right, good. Just go through it 3-4 times in a day, and then you realize you just studied plays for 2 hours, and you pretty much feel like a kid. You just draw on the board. So it's funny. I mean, when you love football, it's not hard to study.
How long have you been doing that?
Ever since I officially signed to UNC, they were able to give me the playbook. I've been doing it.
Does the flashcards and the whiteboard have any traces to your high school career, or is that just something you've done only in college?
In high school, playbooks are pretty basic, so I never really had to really lock in on that. But when I got to college, my coach Applewhite really was, helped me, develop traits of studying plays and learning defenses, and he was super beneficial for me.
Yeah, this morning Jordan was talking about kind of the relationship you guys have been building off the field. How would you kind of describe Jordan as a teammate?
Jordan's a good dude, man. Honestly, probably my best friend here. Of course, it's only been 3 months, so for me, you're not going to become best friends with somebody in 3 months. But I'll pretty much say we're probably as close as you can be for someone that you know for 3 months. We talk every day, so I call him hey, on this concept, how are you reading this and stuff like that. And he's a great leader. Even though he's young, he's a great leader for the team already. And I feel like me and him are on the same thought process.
I'm sure you've been asked this already, but what made now the right time to enter the portal and come to the Power 5 level, and how enticing was UNC with Coach Belichick here and just its history with him in the NFL? NFL and Tom Brady and things of that nature?
It was one of those situations, of course. Like, I mean, naturally, people know I said I was going to stay at South in December, and that was my plan. And then, you get an opportunity to play for the greatest head coach of all time. I feel like I've said that a lot, but when you do get that opportunity, you just one of those conversations with your family. You're like, I don't really see a situation where I can be like, hey, coach, I'll come next year. Like, you can't do that. Like, if you get a situation you can play for him, then I was like, I got to take this opportunity.
Gio, the quarterback position last year for Carolina was a bit a little questionable. So what can Carolina fans look forward to about your game and how you're going to play the game this coming year?
Just for me, I feel like offensively, I'm going to take care of the ball. Of course, I already said that, but in the sense of like just explosive plays and making bad plays not turn worse or making a bad play turn not bad. In the sense of like, okay, if let's say we miss a block, I can get out of it and throw the ball away. And even though like from a normal fan standpoint, you're going to be like, oh, but from a football standpoint, you're going to be like, all right, he just made a play that was going to be 2nd and 15, 2nd and 10 again, or 2nd and 8 because he took care of the ball. So just things like that, just being explosive and just making plays with my feet and also with my arms. I feel like I bring a lot to the table.
What kind of advice can you give a freshman coming in, trying to find the right school, with the NIL and everything else going on? What kind of advice would you give them coming in?
Me personally, of course, I'm a little biased for me, but I feel like, just get on the field early. Of course, like, yes, it's awesome to get recruited to a big school, but then you look and you realize this school has another guy that they're paying millions of dollars to, and they're not going to play you over him. So for me, I just feel like if you can get on the field, prove your worth, and then, just go from there. I mean, just getting on the field and, how much practice tape can you show a coach, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you got to get on that field. So for me, I just say go to the opportunity that you feel like is real and they actually really care for you, and then just try to find a situation to get on the field early.
Gio, what's the biggest difference between South Alabama and UNC?
I'd say the biggest difference is, honestly, of course, there's a lot of big differences. We had some great athletes at South Alabama. I mean, you get a great recruiting pool with Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama right there. So, but I'd say the biggest difference is honestly the facilities and just how much more, they take care of you here. Of course, South Alabama did a great job and they were awesome, but it's limited there. And here, getting dinner, they feed you breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They didn't service that at South. I've saved a bunch of money in groceries. So stuff like that, and just the facilities are so much better, and just the opportunity it's just one of those situations coming from a smaller school like me, you just look at it why would I not take advantage of all this? This is a great opportunity.
Yeah, and obviously we're all talking about Coach Belichick, and that's obviously a big story. But what's something we're not talking about when it comes to UNC and the offense in particular?
I would say not talked about is just how I feel like. Of course, I feel like as a team we are underrated. I feel like they view us as Coach Belichick's team. Of course, we are Belichick's team, but in the sense of this is a good program, and we got a lot of talent in the wide receiver room, the running back room, the tight end room, the O-line room, the quarterback room. Just in that sense, there's a lot of talent here that's going unnoticed because of the headline of Coach Belichick.
Last one for me: what is your pre-game meal or post-game meal? A good food that you love to eat?
For me, my pre-game at South was spaghetti and meatballs. That was really what I did. But I don't know, I'm not too stingy about food. I'd say I am a big candy guy. Right before games, funny enough, during the season I would keep Skittles in my I used to keep them in my pants. But then I started playing, so I was like, I can't do this. I used to give it to my quarterback assistant. I'll just eat Skittles during the game. And then I guess the superstition would be I keep a chapstick in my helmet. It's random, but I do keep a chapstick in my helmet.
You mentioned the strength of that offense. What you want the identity of that offense to be this season?
Identity of the offense I want to say is just be tough, smart, and dependable. At the end of the day, if we can go out there and execute every day, then you're just putting your best foot forward. If you can't execute the offense, then you're not going to be a high functioning offense. So if we can execute and play our brand of football, then we're going to be fine.
Earlier, some players from Duke said that they think that the addition of Coach Belichick, the addition of a lot of transfers onto you guys' roster is kind of heating up the rivalry Duke and Carolina. Do you agree with that?
For me, I'm still fresh to this rivalry. I mean, you got Duke, you got NC State as rivals, and for me, I just feel like hearing them, hearing Jordan Shipp or hearing, Will Hardy talk about the rivalry, you can only imagine how the rivalry was. But I feel like as a whole, I mean, a rivalry is a rivalry. That's you can be 0-8 you can be 8-0 and they're 0-8, but a rivalry they're going to play the best version of their football, so you just got to be ready to compete.
How excited are you for those games?
I mean, I'm excited for every game. End of the day, I mean, for me, it's just every game is an opportunity to put my best foot forward, so I'm excited for all of them. Thank you.
What do you make of the NFL influence in the ACC? Obviously, coach is getting a lot of attention, but there's other coaches in the ACC that come from the NFL. What does that just kind of mean to have that close relationship between the conference and the league?
I mean, these guys see it as a blessing. I mean, you get the opportunity to play for a coach who's been an NFL connection, and we got pretty much our whole staff feels like it's been the NFL, and then you got guys like Bill O'Brien who came from the NFL as well. So like, it's funny because I mean he came from the Belichick tree as well. So it just feels like everyone connects to Belichick that's been from the NFL when I talk to him. So just overall, it's really cool to see that that tree connection right there.
Does Coach give the program more of a professional feeling than you're used to?
Yeah, I would say being at South Alabama, it felt like a college. The strength staff was super on you. The nutrition, they try to do what they can. But here in the NFL, not the NFL, we call ourselves the 33rd team in the NFL. But in the college, we have that feel where they expect you to also carry yourself in a certain way, and they demand you to be great on your own.
Gio, wanted to ask you, Jeremiah with Inside Carolina. Wanted to ask you about your experience early on with Jordan Shipp. I know you guys throw around. Sorry if you asked this already, but I guess what's it been like getting to know him, getting to form a chemistry with him, and everything like that?
I feel like I formed a chemistry with all these receivers, of course, but me and Jordan have going pretty close. As fast as we can in 3 months, I would say. Just talking to him every day. We talk, we throw probably 4 times a week together. Just overall, building the chemistry we can. I feel like me and Jordan have, became pretty close as much as we can be.
Yeah, I know you guys, the quarterbacks, receivers kind of watch film. I believe quarterbacks coach Matt Lombardi kind of takes you guys through that. What is Lombardi like as a quarterbacks coach? What are some of the main things he kind of hones in on for you guys?
Matt's awesome, dude. He's very personable, and he teaches in his own way. He's not like everyone else where he's going to be hard-nosed and all that. Of course, he's going to be hard-nosed and expect a lot out of you, but he approaches you in a better light. He's going to be able to connect with you. He's not an older guy. I mean, I might disrespect him, but I think Matt's 31, 32. So, I mean, Matt, me and him are, I talk to him a bunch, and it's not just, about football. He'll teach me about some other stuff, or we'll just talk ball game, or we'll talk about life, and honestly, it's been really cool with him, and I've already connected with his two sons, and all that. It's been really cool.
Gio, how has the adjustment to North Carolina been for you, and what's been your favorite part of being a member of the Tar Heels football program?
I'd say adjustment to North Carolina has been the heat's a lot easier here in Mobile. I mean, it's 100 degrees right now, so training out there compared to being in North Carolina, it was 8 degrees and people are it's hot. I'm like, it feels great out here. So that would be a big adjustment. But overall, North Carolina's an amazing place. I love it here. I've never been in North Carolina until I came here, so it's been awesome. And then being a Tar Heel, just seeing how bought in the school is into the program. At South Alabama, it was cool. People cared a little bit, but they're so brought into the program and they want us to be great. And it feels cool to feel like a school is really behind you.
You're surrounded by so many ex-professional coaches, guys with so much success at the professional level. How has that helped you, the offense, and the overall team itself really elevate its game and continue to develop its players?
I feel like with all that experience around, you just really listen with open ears to everyone. I mean, it can be the assistant defensive coordinator or the assistant, DB coach. He got something to say, you want to listen, just because everyone has so much experience. And even when it comes off the field, when it's not just football, we have a guy, our player ops called Francie, and Francie, he teaches me a bunch about ball, and you just talk to him. So just everyone, you just got to don't have an ego about anything. Why would I not try to learn from everyone in this building?
When it comes to this offensive scheme, how comfortable do you feel being in a pro-style scheme, going through these full field reads, really just being in an offense that, let's face it, at the college level in 2025, there's not a ton of these pro-style schemes. So how has that adjustment been for you, and what's that comfortability level feel like?
I feel like the adjustment's been smooth. I mean, Coach Applewhite was huge for me. We were already a full field progression team, so just learn from him. Of course, a little bit here. There's, of course, differences with Coach Kitchen's offense, but I do feel like I feel prepared for it. I feel like I have been attacking learning the process pretty well.
And my last one for you, I spoke to your teammate over there. He said, you can dress a little bit. So who would you say are the top 5 best dressed players on your team?
Top 5. I'm going to exclude myself. We might as well put me 1. But if we're going top 5, that's not including me. Sleepers, Benjamin Hall came from Michigan. He can dress pretty well. James Robinson came from Washington. He can dress. I'm like, Jordan Shipp's all right. I guess. Probably throw Thad in there. Thaddeus Dixon. He can dress a little bit. And then that 5th spot's tough. I'm gonna give that 5th spot to I'm gonna give it to Jordan Hall, his old lineman. He's trying. It's one of those, when you're 6'8", 330, it's hard to dress, but he tries. So that's one of those I'm gonna give you a little bit of like a little kindergarten A+, because he tries, man. He tries. He always hits me up. He's like, you know where I can get a size 20 shoe? I'm like, no, I don't. but he tries, man.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, a few quick questions over here. Scott Gates, UNC Creative Media. What has it meant to you to be able to learn from an all-time UNC great like Manny Miles in the quarterback room?
Manny Miles, one of the best players to ever play. Western Carolina Hail Mary before half was one of the better plays I've seen in college football. When you watch that play, I watch it, probably 3 times a day. When it comes to Manny, some people call him Manny Mahomes, Leslie Mahomes. There's so many ways you can think about that. But, having Manny as an assistant, QB coach, his time at Kansas, his time on the baseball field, his time on UNC, him, a little bit of daddy's ball, but less, just learning from him has been a blessing, amazing opportunity to learn from Manny Miles.
Yep, last question. What do you got to say to your family back at home?
Family, I love y'all. North Carolina's treating me well, but I do miss Alabama a little bit.
Gio,
thank you.
A lot has been made by your teammates and by Coach Belichick about the improved conditioning of this team. In the time that you've been here, what have you been able to do working with that conditioning staff, and how has it improved you as a player?
I will say I'm the best conditioned I've ever been in my life. Back at South, we ran a good bit, but just coming here, I remember the first time they introduced us to how we run, I was like, wow, it's a little different for me, but I feel like I attacked it pretty well. And at first, just having the mental edge of not giving up and not tapping out. Because at the end of the day, conditioning is just a mental. If you can keep pushing yourself, you're gonna get through it. So just that mental building with the team. I mean, at the end of the day, that's team bonding right there. If I look over to the left of you and the man on the left of me is fighting his butt off to keep competing, I look to the right and you're competing as well, then why don't I compete? So just bonding-wise, I feel like the conditioning's also been really positive for us.
That compared the conditioning training that you guys do to basically training as a cross-country team, he said that it's much different than how he's ever ran in his football career. So it sounds like you agree with that.
Yeah, I do agree. It's a lot of running.
Gio, for you, obviously this summer the NCAA house settlement, we saw the news that came out with that. I'm just kind of curious, how much has UNC and people around UNC kind of communicated to you, just practical changes of what that would look like for you guys individually?
I would say our team, our financial team, has been super helpful for me. Just communicating what needs to be done, how this thing works, all that. It's still very new to everybody, so it's funny to hear some of the NCAA people here I don't really know how it's working. But overall, I feel like from our aspect of UNC, they've done a great job informing all of us, and not just me, just all the players, and making sure that we're, getting treated the right way, and making sure that we're, everything's going smoothly for us.
How different will it look for you? What are some of the maybe practical differences? How does it affect your day-to-day? Just things like that.
In what?
Just when it comes to what are, I guess, the way you've handled NIL to this point? What do you understand as the differences of what that will look like moving forward? Different procedures, stuff like that.
I know a little bit. I know you got anything over $600, you gotta submit all that. But for me, I've been very blessed to have an agent that I have a lot of trust in. That's kind of handling everything for me. Because at the end of the day, all I want to do is play football. So I mean, if I'm over here worried about money or worried about NIL or worried about sponsorships, I'm not gonna be playing my best foot forward in football. I'm not doing the best for this team. So if that's what I'm worried about, then I shouldn't be out there playing football. So for me, just letting my agent handle things and letting my dad kind of handle things for me has been super positive.
Gio, just wanted to circle back briefly to the high school injury you mentioned. Do you remember what that injury was with your shoulder? I know your high school coach mentioned it was related to baseball.
Yeah, actually, I was diving for a ball in baseball, and I ended up tearing, I think I tore a little bit of my rotator cuff and some ligaments in there, and, just had to do a cleanup, and it took about 6 months for me to recover.
Yeah, and your high school coach mentioned that in a lot of that season in football, you were playing through that injury.
Yeah. Just mental toughness, honestly. I feel like that junior year for me playing with a torn shoulder kind of helped me this past season. I had, had a toe injury that I played through. I got it week 1 and played the whole season with it. So it's a mental edge of look, you only get to play college football so many times. yeah, I might hurt a little bit now, but when I'm looking back from now, I'm probably going to be thankful I played through a little bit of pain. So for me, just the mental part of things and just being able to compete when, things aren't going your way.
Gio, when you were at South Alabama getting ready to enter the transfer portal, when Belichick and Freddie Kitchens come calling, what's the sales pitch? What are they pitching to you, and what attracted you to North Carolina with those two guys?
Like I said earlier, when you got a sales pitch from Coach Belichick, there's not much needed. You get Coach Belichick calls, and it almost feels like it's not even a call, it's a demand. When he calls you, he tells you like, hey, I would love for you to be on our football team and come compete for a spot. I'm like, who am I to pass this up? This blessing. So I just took it on head on.
What has the process been like for you in the quarterback battle? Because the conversation between North Carolina's fan base and everything is the quarterback spot. Who's going to have that spot? What's that journey been like for you over the last few months?
For me, just taking it a day at a time and learning the offense. I can't compete for a spot if I don't know the offense. So for me, just learning the offense has been the number one. But as a competitor, of course, I came here to play. Of course, I didn't come here to sit. But just putting my best foot forward and understanding that that's what Bryce and Max are doing as well. And who am I to feel like I should get handed something to me? I didn't earn anything here at North Carolina, so I need to earn a spot here, and I'm more than willing to do that during fall camp.
Thank you, Gio.
Gio, why did you come after the spring? I guess how did talk me through the process and what that was like?
Just an opportunity arose that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting to stay at South one more year, but I just had an opportunity to come play for North Carolina. Coach Belichick, and it's one of those you just really don't pass up. And it was a lot of praying, and a lot of talking to my mama. And my mama was just kind of informing me like, look, baby, if you feel like this is a great opportunity, you need to take it on. And I trusted my mama.
He's found some diamond in the roughs before. Tom Brady, obviously. That's got to be a trip for you to be like, wait, these guys like me? Did they come to you or did you go to them?
When I was in the portal, they came after me after I was in the portal, and it was one of those, it was surreal. Of course, I was just like, man, it feels crazy that I'm the quarterback that Coach Belichick went after, and just the opportunity to even play for him is like a blessing. So I was like, man, I got to take this opportunity.
You're a little bit behind, obviously, but do you think you have a chance to start?
Yeah, as a competitor, of course, if you don't feel like you can come play somewhere, why would you go there? Of course, I got to earn the spot, and Max is competing just as hard. Of course, the best player is going to play, but I do feel like I have an opportunity to play here.
I feel like watching you seem just like a gamer, like a guy that maybe, obviously you've gone to a smaller school, so you've been overlooked, but when you get out there, you just ball. Is that an accurate assessment?
I like that assessment. Like a gamer, I feel like I do make a lot of plays, and I'm fun to watch, and I feel like there's a lot of plays that go a little, unplanned, and I make it work, and I feel like that's kind of a big piece of my game is just like me being a gamer. I like that terminology, yeah.
Okay, how's the offense looking from what you've seen from your perspective?
I think we got some great players. Overall, offensively, defensively, we got great receivers, running backs, O-line, quarterbacks. Just overall, I feel like the offense is in a great place, and I feel like Coach Kitchens is going to put us in the right position to win.
Last question for me. Has Belichick been able to give you any tips, any coaching points that have stood out?
First, it feels like everything he says is a tip, and you just listen. But we were meeting every day, just talking defensive schemes, talking offensive schemes, talking situational ball, talking when I want to do this, when you want to do that, when you want to check to this. So everything he says is, of course, something you can learn from, but he has been super helpful in learning process and just becoming a better football player.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Look forward to covering you.
Thank you.
Hi, Gio. My name is Twilly. So I got some fun social media questions for you.
Okay.
All right. Would you rather let me read your text messages or camera roll?
Camera roll.
Okay. All right. What year do you think your coach was born?
Let's see. It has to be like either late 50s or early 60s, I would say.
What's something he says that lives in your head rent free?
Coach Belichick. Honestly, you think funny stuff, but for me, I'll probably say is I brought you here to be you. So when he said that to me, it was just like a huge thing for me that Coach Belichick said, look, I didn't bring you here to be anybody else, but to be yourself.
What's the last thing you binge watched?
Last thing I binge watched. Last thing I binge watched was probably what's the name of that show? It's with Kenny McBride playing Eastbound Down. It's a great show.
All right, if he had a Finsta account, what would his @ name be?
Who, Coach Belichick? Probably like something like BB8. BB-8 rings or something.
All right. If practice was canceled for 24 hours and no one could contact you, where would you be?
Hanging with my Frenchie. I got a little dog at home. I'll be with him.
All right. And lastly, what's your favorite piece of jewelry that you're wearing today?
I actually have a chain under this. It's a gold chain. I wear it every day. It was a family heirloom. It's been passed down from my Willow, and my dad has passed it down to me. So that's my favorite. I wear it every day. Thank you.
Hey Gio, when it comes to the quarterback competition, have they sort of detailed to you how exactly they're going to split reps up in the fall? Like, are you going to be the guy taking the primary snaps, or is it going to be a true battle where all three of you guys will be taking those first team?
I haven't really talked about the splitting of the reps. I just know I came here to compete for the spot, and I'm gonna put my best foot forward.
And then one thing, when I watched your game, you remind me a little bit of Sam Howell, sort of that mentality that you run with and everything like that. Have you heard that comparison, and why do you have the mentality that you have when it comes to running?
I've heard a lot of comparisons to Sam Howell. I think me and him are actually kind of built the same in a sense too. So, when it comes to running the ball, I feel like my mentality is, I kind of have a mentality of like, I can get an extra yard, get an extra 2. But I think the biggest thing for my run game is I just never feel like I'm gonna get tackled. So like in the sense of like, all right, I might get tackled. Like, yeah, I probably slide here, but what if I make him miss? So like that's kind of my thought process. Like, I got to get better at it in a sense, not take so many hits. But I would say just the mentality of wanting to make more plays.
And then when it comes to the system that Freddie Kitchens is going to run, what should Tar Heel fans expect? Is it going to be more of a run-heavy system, or is it, maybe we're going to see a more modern passing game that he's going to be throwing out?
I just feel like it's going to be game-to-game based. It's going to be a situation where whatever it takes to win is going to, be put into the scheme, and that's what I'm expecting, and that's what I think everyone's expecting as well.
I appreciate it, Gio. Thanks so much.
All right, so I have a couple of fun questions for you for our social media. I'm just doing like a fun little segment of y'all. So what is your dream car?
Dream car? I'll probably say a Fox Body 88 Mustang, old school car.
Okay. What is your dream stadium to play in?
Dream stadium. It's tough. I'd go UNC Stadium. I haven't played a game in it yet, so that'll be my game.
If you could play any other position, what would it be?
I'll probably play safety or receiver.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the short time since you've come to UNC, what have you seen from Jordan Shipp? How would you describe him as a player in person? Just anything that comes to mind.
I feel like Jordan's a competitor. I mean, he wants to win. He wants to be the best version of himself. And that's what I love about him so much is like he just wants to compete. He doesn't want handouts. He wants to earn everything he does. And, every day is seen as a day to get better. I just think that me and him overall have the same kind of thought process. And I think we can connect a lot in that aspect.
He's a young player, but everyone here has kind of described him as someone that you just gravitate towards. Why do you think that is? Have you seen that? Just why do people gravitate towards him?
Hate to admit it, but that's my dog. He's a great person, honestly. Someone you can gravitate towards. He's a person you want to be around. He's one of those people that treats everyone the same. He's not going to treat you differently for whatever's going on, and I think that's why he's such an easy person to talk to.
Yeah, and how have you seen him people talk about his Bible study group that he conducts and how he's kind of helped the team unify and grow together. How have you seen that? Just anything that comes to mind of him unifying the team?
There's little things in a sense, like after we do conditioning, we're about to break down and he's like, hey, let's get a prayer before, or, hey, we got Bible study Wednesday at 5:30. Just little things like that are big thing because, at the end of the day, all glory to God is the main focus that everyone has. So, why not worship him every time we get a chance to?
Joe, how you doing?
No, got you.
Good. Just wondering, what's kind of the mindset of being able to be coached by not just an NFL coach, but obviously a legend in the game, probably one of the biggest legends in the game ever. And I'm just wondering if Coach Belichick has ever mentioned, now he's going to be playing, or now he's going to be coaching against other coaches that he's coached in his career as well.
He's been super helpful for me. Just learning from Coach Belichick has been awesome. I mean, learning film from him, watching film with him, talking scheme, talking ball. Just overall, just anything he says, you feel like it's in the football Bible almost. It feels like. So just whenever he talks, you just be quiet and you listen because whatever he says, you're gonna be able to apply to your game.
Yeah, and is his personality just exactly what you would expect of him?
No. He like people have this persona of him, and it's nothing like that. I would say he's a very personable person, and he talks to everyone. Treats everybody the same. He's never going to downlook anybody or talk down towards anybody. He's going to keep it real with you and treat you like how you should be treated. But he does demand greatness out of you.
He's funny, I've heard.
Yeah. Coach is actually a pretty funny guy.
How so?
Just little things like he'll throw like slide jokes in there or little things in there that you don't expect. Like you'll be watching film, he'll say something, it's just completely out of left field, and you're like, well, where did that come from? And you start laughing. He's a funny guy.
Gio, you didn't get in the original transfer portal. Why make that decision in April? And then what was it about North Carolina? Maybe the opportunity, maybe the options they were giving you. What was it about North Carolina that made you want to come in?
Originally I planned on staying at South for one more year, and that was something I wanted to do. And then just the opportunity to play for Coach Belichick, one of those situations that you don't really see yourself turning down because you're just like, man, like Coach Belichick is also a great opportunity to take. So you just take it at face value and you run with it.
He obviously brought in a lot of new players. How many of those guys were like, this might be my only chance to play for a coach like this?
I feel like everyone has their own reasons. For me, just the opportunity to play for Coach Belichick was a blessing that I feel like I couldn't turn down. So with that, I feel like everyone kind of has that same aspect. Like when I talked to Dad, that was like, it's Coach Belichick. Like everyone's just one of those situations where you don't got to explain a lot. Like why'd you go to North Carolina? And you're like Belichick, and everyone's like, oh, okay, got you. Don't need to explain anymore.
I know you're competing for the starting job. What have you seen out of Max and the rehab that he's done, the recovery that he's done, and just how difficult that has been for him? What kind of lessons have you learned from that, or inspiration you get?
Learning from Max has been awesome. He's been, people have this, stigma that we're not going to like each other. We're both competing for a spot. But Max is a great dude. We went to Man and Pass Academy together. We flew up together. We were in the airports together on a layover for 6 hours. So just overall, me and him have gotten pretty close. And, just watching him, I heard that, from December to now, he's looks like way better, seeing him run around. I didn't get to see all the hard work he put in, but just overall talking to him has been like, man, I'm just, thankful to watch, I'm thankful for him to be able to watch him be able to go out there and compete again. It's been awesome.
How many diamonds in that thing?
I don't know.
I mean, come on.
I don't know, honestly. Don't know.
Quite a few.
So I guess it's a good bit. I don't know.
You talk about the Belichick effect. When it comes to building a roster, are there certain things he's done as a coach, just in your day-to-day interactions that you're like, that's different? That's not something, you've played a lot of football, you've played for a lot of coaches. I've never seen a coach do that.
Just when it comes to I feel like in a college level, a lot of teams just have a five-man O-line. Like once you get your 5 guys, you're like, okay, we're confident with that. I feel like with this program, we have 8 to 9 to 10 guys that can really play and produce out there, and you don't really see that in the college level. And just overall, there's a bunch of players that are willing to work hard. It's hard to find that in college now. A lot of people, want to get, want everything handed to them, don't want to have to compete for anything. But, I feel like our roster as a whole wants to compete.
The NIL deals, the revenue sharing, is all that done with Lombardi, or does Belichick come and talk to you about that?
All of that is done with Mike Lombardi. He kind of handles all that aspect of things, so I don't really worry. I feel like Coach Belichick shouldn't have to worry about that and handle that, so he doesn't really do any of those.
And how much of it, I talked to some of the Duke guys, they talked about, you're talked to like a man. You're earning money like a man. You're talked to like a man. This is the deal. This is what we're doing, and then that's business, and then you get to the field.
I mean, college pretty much became professional in a sense. Everything's a business, so you get offered these deals or these opportunities, and it's up to you. I feel like on the college level, a lot of teams try to pull a fast one on you or tell you this and tell you that. Don't promise certain things. I feel like with Mike Lombardi, he's been super upfront, telling you what it is. This is what we're expecting. This is what we're going to give you, and this is your, this is what we want from you, and you just got to go out there and prove your worth.
Bill was talking about you guys as essentially a pro franchise. You were talking about the professional part of it. What about kind of the scheme part? I'm not asking for any trade secrets, but is it more complicated than stuff you've run before, or what?
I would say schematically, I feel like it's not overly complicated. I feel like if you really love the game and you love football, you're going to learn it, right? But of course, in a sense of schematically, I feel like it's a little more wordy with certain plays. There's more checks you can get into. There's more responses. If we get this coverage, I can check to this. If we get this rotation, I can check to this. Not a lot of college teams are doing that. So just overall, you got to be more of a, more command of your offense and know when you need to go to certain things. Has been, a great thing to learn from Kitchens.
Hey, Gio, Thaddeus Dixon here with UNC football. Who's the cornerback you looking to throw the ball over the head most during fall camp?
I mean, I never really heard of this Thaddeus guy. I think he's an all right player. You know, I think he's okay. I'm more looking forward to throwing it over Ziegler. You know, but I think Dad's an okay player that I'll probably target when I get bored.
All right, you guys. All right, cool. We got to wrap it up.